Monday through Friday, noon till 1. And on Wednesday, lunchtime, Tony Catalina helps me kick things off. What's up, brother?
What's going on?
So what's got you excited in your sports world? You are very excitable.
Yeah.
You love sports, passion, phenomenal, and you happen to love everything A&M sports. But right now, just seriously, what has you excited?
Honestly, I'm not trying to think too far ahead, and I guess I have the privilege of that, and the teams don't. But you look at this baseball slate coming up, right? You got Vanderbilt this weekend, and then you got Texas coming into town. Like, there's a lot to look forward to and a lot to learn about this baseball team. So for me, I'm full on the diamond sports, and A&M's bats are alive and well right now. So that's kind of got me pumped up.
If you're a diamond sports fan like me, because Aggie softball has been a part of my life, my entire A&M life, both teams can bash and mash. So, people love runs. So if you're an A&M Diamond sports fan, baseball, softball, doesn't matter. They're really fun to watch. I know they're not winning every game, but man, they're going to score. You don't go there and see 1-0 snooze fest, and even when they lose, they score 8 runs and lose. So it's a lot of fun right now. It's a lot of fun right now.
Yeah, and I asked early last night about it. I'm just like, how challenging is it for a manager to know like 1 through 9, but you got so many people off the bench that can come in and hit. I mean, Jorian didn't start the season. Blake Binderup didn't start the season. These guys are mashing home runs over the fence. Gavin's found lighter fluid ever since he got his hand stepped on. So it's just, there's so many different bats. And then the 1, 2, 3, like you mentioned, Gavin, Chris Cahopian, and Caden Sorrell, those guys, you pencil them in, but the other 6 spots, they got so many guys who are deserving of lineup spots, and right now they're, one of the best teams in the country as far as offensive production goes. So it's a good time to be sitting in the upper deck in Section 12 in Bluebell Park right now.
Yeah, that's just, again, the offenses are undeniable. And, well, A&M pitching, what statements are you comfortable making?
Not
A&M
many.
baseball pitching.
Yeah, not many. It's a work in progress right now, right? I think the one thing I will say is I think Aiden Sims looks the most comfortable, which I think if you started the year, I think that was probably the biggest question mark was, this young kid came in, Sunday guy, what's he going to look like in a Sunday spot? But, a lot of the times he's been the one to bring the stability, to calm it down, like find a way to win, on a Sunday or give him some quality innings. Shane Sadeo has kind of struggled since conference play has kicked off, and he's somebody who's going to have to settle down. They're not going to be able to reach the pinnacle that they want to, which is Omaha and fighting in these super regionals and being in these tournaments, if they don't figure out their Friday and Saturday guy a little bit better. I think Weston Moss he's been shaky, he's been up and down, but my biggest question mark sits with, can Sadeo stop giving up the long ball, right? Is this a guy who can settle, win inside the zone, win low in the zone, try to keep the ball, in the ballpark? This is another Vanderbilt team that mashes the ball, home runs that fly out of the ballpark.
Unlike past Vanderbilt teams.
Right.
This team, Vanderbilt, Mitch Light of the Athletic joins me every Monday. He's a Vanderbilt baseball guy, and he's made that clear all year that unlike past, this Vanderbilt team mashes.
Absolutely.
I think everybody mashes this year.
Yeah, and the thing that's nerve-wracking is you look at Georgia. Georgia's like the only team in the country who hits more home runs than them. So if that's kind of what it looks like, here's another challenge for the staff. A&M's going to be able to put up runs, but what's it look like if this pitching staff holds them down? Can they win with 5, 6, 7 runs, or do they need 10, 11, 12 just to be in the fight? So that's the question that remains.
I said before I was going to make no all big conclusions on Aggie baseball to the end of the first month because you had 2 top 10 teams, you had one of the bottom teams, and then a Vanderbilt team so injured that their pitching suffers too. So maybe that puts them at 25 to 35 instead of their usual top 10 themselves. I thought that was a nice cross section.
Sure. Yeah, Vanderbilt is you handle business exactly like you should have against Missouri, right? So you get credit for doing that, but I don't think you get overly brownie points for handling a team that you should. This is another one of those weeks where Vanderbilt is probably down compared to where people thought they were going to be. Looked at it this morning. People still had a middle-of-the-pack SEC coaches poll at the beginning of the year, so I don't know. Maybe just overall, Vanderbilt isn't what we're used to, a team that's won 2 titles in the last 15 years, whatever the case may be. So, but you go out there and you got it at home at Bluebell Park. You try to find a way to scrap at least 2 games, win the series, get out of there, and I think we'll learn some more things about them. But ultimately, I'm probably to your point. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but when Texas comes into town, I think we'll have a really good idea of what this team is.
You'll be 40% done with your SEC schedule.
Yeah.
You'll have played a variety of challenges, and at some point you are who you are. I mean,
Right.
I know you still try and improve all year, but at some point you kind of are who you are.
Sure. And I worry, and this is just a passing thought, and people can correct me or say I'm wrong, but
I'll do it. I'll handle that part.
So you remember, like with the football season, they're like, hey, if it bottom feeders in the middle of the pack, A&M's going to devour those teams. But when they face top level competition, there's been a clear divide there, and so. They played UCLA. They got run ruled. Now they got number 2 Texas in a couple weeks. What's that look like? This is another chance to prove that they belong in that conversation with Texas, Mississippi State, some of those other teams in your conference. But it's one thing to beat up on the bottom feeders, but can you beat up the big dogs too?
Well, okay, they played OU. They could have won all 3, but the Sunday game with the weather was not real baseball.
Sure.
Friday, they blew Friday. They should have won Friday.
Yes.
Not maybe. No. Should have, could have. Can't take it back. And they did Saturday. So they played one top 10 team on the road and should have won that series. They didn't look like they belonged with Georgia. Georgia was the better team.
Right.
That was undeniable. So we have mixed results from the first 2 top 10 series. The one on the road, they should have won, could have swept. The one at home, Georgia was better.
Right. And then they handle business against a team like Missouri, like I said, that they should have.
Yep.
And then so in the same vein as Georgia is, you got a Vanderbilt team that can hit home runs, but unlike Georgia, maybe their pitching's a little more sketchy, right? The 15th best pitching staff ERA-wise in the conference. Go out there and touch them up, right? Go out there and put some runs on the board and maybe couple that with Shane Sedeo's best performance of the season. Or maybe Weston Moss gives you 5-6 strong innings, and Aiden Sims continues to be who he is. And now you're sitting here with, maybe you're 2-1, 3-0 in the weekend. And by the end of that, you probably win 9 games and feeling really good about yourself in a midweek before Texas.
Aggie Baseball, the only thought I'm willing to put out, even though I have no final answers yet, I feel like the offense might be good enough to bash their way to a super regional as a one-dimensional team.
Yeah. Yeah, just if on any given night, this pitching staff gives them a fighting chance. They have the bats in the lineup. I mean, and they're doing this with 3 freshmen in the lineup. They're doing this without Wesley Jordan, who was brought in to be the designated power hitter in the middle of the lineup. They're doing this in a wide variety of ways. I mean, Nico Pardito winning, mid-season perfect game, freshman of the year awards. Like, they're doing this in a lot of variety of ways. And, oh, yeah, by the way, Sorrell is still Sorrell. Gavin is rounding into himself, and Chris Hakopian at least
5 homers in 3 games.
It's insane. He had 2 all year and then got 5 in 3 games. So
I don't care how good you are. I don't care what your draft prospect is. 5 homers, 3 games for Gavin Grahovic.
And mind you, as big as Jorian Wilson's 440-foot home run, Gavin's was 443. So it's not like these are just popping out, right? He's putting these things over by the train tracks. So, so 1 through 3, 1 through 5, this is a lineup that's nasty. And then you got a bunch of guys like Terrence Keel and Boston Kellner. Boston Kellner, I don't think people realize, has still gotten on base in every single game this year. As a freshman, that's insane to me. So, I mean, just 1 through 9, they got guys that can play. They got guys that come off the bench. And, you're right. Swing for the fences and hope that the pitching can probably just keep you in the fight.
So you tweeted something that's been haunting me since before the Sam Houston State game.
Never a good thing.
Well, Bluebell, your favorite ice cream flavor is what again?
Groom's cake.
Really? That I've had the Groom's cake.
Yeah.
We're very lucky. We know the Bluebell people, and we tend on the day they do a new flavor release, we get to try them up here at the Bryan Broadcasting Building, 5th floor, all the radio stations. And how Groom cake? Help me with that.
So, first off, I want to ask you, is that a bad take? I mean, you guys, I'm not as experienced.
Okay, hold on. Bad take. How can anything that's your favorite be a bad take? That's
Fair.
Your favorite.
Sure.
I don't agree with people that disagree with someone's favorite. It's just a very interesting take.
I would say, as far as Bluebell ice cream goes, I'm inexperienced, right? So I say that could change, right? If I got
you could try an ice cream a day and catch up.
I could, and maybe that's a content plan for the slow summer we're talking about.
I recommend it. I wholeheartedly recommend it.
So I'm more of like a vanilla ice cream guy, but you're talking about chocolate with brownie swirls, with strawberry pieces, little chocolate hearts filled with strawberry. Like it hit every note of ice cream that I was looking for. And, I've had multiple different ones. I think that one's kind of just stood out among the rest for me right now.
Okay. Tell me when, maybe by the end of the summer, maybe each Wednesday, I can ask you what flavor you tried that week. What do you think?
I'm down. No, you know what? My wife will hate it, but let me get a new Bluebell flavor every week, and I'll come back, the Louie Berlina report on the ice cream here.
Yeah, I'm good with this, because, summer, ice cream, it won't hurt. Yeah. It's summertime, right?
You give me an excuse to do what I was going to do already.
Okay. I'm going to help you out here. Because Bluebell has a pecan flavor. They have several, but I forget the one. And also just they have a coffee flavored. Haven't seen it in a while. I wonder if they still make it. But they have a coffee flavored ice cream that just is divine to me.
Yeah. To me, like, you know, being a Northeast Italian guy, like I like the simplicity sometimes. Like I judge you based on your vanilla ice cream. I judge you on your cheese pizza.
Dude, you know what?
Yeah.
If I had to have one flavor of ice cream for the rest of my life, it would be vanilla.
Yeah.
And my favorite pizza is a double pepperoni and cheese.
Okay.
Two toppings.
Staples, right?
Yeah.
Like staples. And so, no, yeah, I say that to say, even I surprise myself when I like the Grimm's cake. So I'll report back. If anybody has a list or wants to tweet me a list of where I should start and where I should go from there, that would be highly appreciated.
Yet another tweet going back over the weekend that, you know, if you don't want to further explain, but the stealing of practice clips and posting them on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube is rampant, a full-on epidemic.
Yeah, I think I'm glad you brought this up and giving me a platform to talk about it. So if you're in that between age where I still think I'm a kid, but I'm actually an adult, where I spend a lot of time on my social media, it's very frustrating to go and swipe through TikTok and see, oh, that video looks familiar, right? Oh, where's that video come from? And then you realize everything you post on Twitter and you don't have a watermark on it, or if you put the watermark too small, somebody's just cropping it and posted it and monetizing off the video themselves. And at the worst, you know, the worst part is they act like they don't see you or they don't give the credit for it. I don't care if people use my stuff. I'm not like, I post it, it's on the internet, everybody use it. But don't pretend just throw me a credit. At Tony Catalina, at whoever, you know what I mean? There's tons of people and a ton of my friends who are posting videos, who are going to these practices, doing the groundwork, and then you get some bozo, I want to say, online, you know, breaking down the film that we filmed that you wouldn't have the advantage of getting it. So it was just a little frustrating. I'm glad you brought that up.
So people are stealing your stuff.
People are stealing, without a doubt, stealing videos. I mean, I'll go on, if you type in Texas A&M football on TikTok and just search, if you see practice videos, there's a 99% chance you're going to see one of the videos I posted on Twitter.
Do you ever comment on?
Oh yeah.
Do you go?
Oh yeah. You know me. I mean, you know me now. I'm an unabashful Italian from the Northeast. Like conflict, I'm not no stranger to it. So
not no stranger. You're a writer, not no stranger.
Yeah, exactly. that I had to emphasize it for that. So when it comes to that, no, but I try to be nice about it. I'm like, hey man, like just lob me a credit. And then how they respond to that is where it gets escalated from there. Like, oh, you want to ignore it? Like, hey, man, take it down. Or whatever. I'm not trying to be a tough guy, but, like, it is very annoying to do work.
Yeah. And have it stolen.
And you can tell sometimes these videos get a little bit of traction. You see all the bookmarks. You see all the people saving them for later use. And then you're like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna see that on some other platform tomorrow.
Oh, so you know where to go look.
Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah,
it's easy.
I don't do that, so I don't know that world.
And maybe I shouldn't. Maybe it's vain of me to go and look and just see. But sometimes it really is organically. I'm on my For You page. I'm just swiping. I'm like, oh, that looks familiar. That picture. Oh, I know who took that video. That was me. So at first it was a chuckle. It was almost flattering. Now it's kind of like, all right, it's a little annoying.
Yeah, but if you don't protect your work, it'll be even worse.
Sure. And the thing that stinks about it for me is, I pride myself on getting it out as quick as possible, right? I know people know when the practice schedule starts. They know that we're out there to go see them. I want to put these out. I want people to consume it, and I want people to see it as fast as humanly possible. If I got to put a watermark on everything, that just slows everything down, puts more work in. I don't mind more work, but I'm here to serve the reader, serve the viewer, serve the listener. Like, that's what I'm here for, and it just prolongs the process.
So if you wait until you have to watermark, that could be 3 to 4 hours later, right?
I mean, I try to post anywhere from 10 to 15 clips per practice, and we only get like 7 or 8 periods, which is a total of 30 minutes. So I'm trying to, I probably shoot like 60 videos, and I condense it down to 15 of them that I think people actually would care to see about. So identifying which ones get posted and then throwing a watermark on that is just, it's time consuming, and people are going to have the smallest violin in the world from me because I have a great job. But yeah, it is funny when people are stealing stuff from you. It gets a little frustrating.
You don't take it as a compliment. They're like, man, this is the best videos I've ever seen.
But I mean, yeah, I do. That's how it was at first. And then I realized, like, oh, This guy's got 30,000 followers. He's got like 10,000 views, and my name's not anywhere on it. Like, that's kind of crazy.
That's right. He's stealing your thunder.
Yep.
Because those are people that don't ever have to find you because they're following him.
That's it. They see it, they take the video, they post it. Next thing you know, they're getting monetized on TikTok, and it's like, hey, off the back of the video, me and several of my friends have posted. So it happens.
Okay. I saw that tweet.
Yeah.
You know, I follow you on Twitter X, and you do incredible work. And then I'm like, somebody.
And I try to keep it very business, but online I'm like, man, I woke up and saw one too many videos stolen. I'm like, I just got to say something.
And people making money on it.
Yeah, and to credit, there have been people that have reached out and apologized, and there have been people that said, my bad, like next time I'll do it. For every 2 of those, there's about 9 or 10 that don't answer or act like they're blind when I ask them or talk to them about it. So you take the good with the bad, I guess.
Welcome to the internet.
Yeah, 100%.
What's your Twitter X?
Tony_Catalina.
How do you spell underscore?
Underscore.
It's just that little symbol thingy?
It's a little symbol.
Tony_Catalina. And if you're an A&M athletics fan, yes, football, of course, but baseball, basketball, and more too, Tony_Catalina. He is definitely, and I mean, holy cow, a follow for your A&M sports enjoyment. A reminder, you can text me, but Tony's here. Why not text Tony? 979-693-1150. Text message number. Light up the Texas Mobile One Loop Express inbox. Texas Mobile One Loop Express, owned by Gabriel Garcia. 979-693-1150. I have a text message from WP in Brenham. And WP, I'm just going to tell you, do not fall for all the April Fool's jokes out in the world. That's a heads up and a warning. We'll be right back. More with Tony Catalina. More of the Louie Bellina Show Wednesday on The Zone.
Home, on the road, or Omaha. You can hear Aggie Baseball on The Zone.
The Louie Bellina Show inside the Charles Schwab studio, and not alone. Tony Catalina of Boston American Statesman. The Louie Bellina Show presented by CC Electric. Now, we're not going all the way to 1 o'clock. That's normal, Wednesday, Friday, because we've got Astros baseball. We'll join the pregame in progress after Tony's like, I've had enough, and he'll run out of the room. I'll be joined on the D4 Land Services hotline by Alan Ward of Brigadoon Brewery. He's our beer master general. Tony, a quick text message.
Sure.
Russell in the Hill Country said, Bluebell does have a coffee flavor. He had some just last week. I know, and then that coffee was, you don't get to my weight by accident. There's certain things you do intentional in life, and I loved that coffee. Phenomenal, delicious.
I can get behind that with a little Hershey drizzle. I could do a little chocolate syrup with it. That's right up my alley.
Again, Tony Catalina, will be hanging out with me every Wednesday, even into the summer. We just hang out and talk, and he now has a job this summer. He will try a new Bluebell flavor each week, and Wednesday that'll be a part of his hardcore reporting here on the Louie Bellina Show, because I need him to expand his Bluebell flavor. Then if Groom Cake's your favorite, okay, but we need to introduce new flavors into your Bluebell library.
This is Big J journalism right here. This is what we get in the business for.
This is why you went to school for 10 years.
This is it.
So I'm sure you saw this. NFL draft analyst Marcus Whitman.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was an NFL draft analyst. The story I said notable NFL draft analyst, and I don't know his credentials. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But he was reviewing KC Concepcion tape?
Yeah.
And he looked at the first half of South Carolina, and then, as social media tends to go, he had to. He felt compelled that he had to write about Marcel Reed to the whole world, right? The logic of this is not a world. I do a sports talk show, so I'm publicly talking all the time. So, but he felt like he had to tweet his discontent, his unhappiness, how bad he thought Marcel Reed was.
Yeah.
And he didn't say Marcel Reed was awful, is basically the sentence to sum up what he said. So he's watching KC Concepcion tape, watches Marcel Reed's first half South Carolina, and he was so disturbed by this that he had to go to the internet and share his thoughts about it.
Yeah. And the funny thing is the disrespect wasn't nearly as loud as the correction, because when he admitted that he watched the second half and it was much better, it was a very quiet response to that. So, yeah, I think if you judge anybody by their worst work, right, and I think we'd all agree the first half of South Carolina was the worst Marcel Reed looked last season.
I was going to ask you, do you think so?
I think so.
Because I thought he looked worse in the Miami game.
I mean, I don't know, man. It was, I mean, for the way they played, there were times in that South Carolina game where it was perplexing, right? I know that it was tough in Miami, but I give Miami the credit because that defense was a championship defense, right? I don't know if South Carolina had a championship defense. What they were seeing in the first half was just perplexing, for lack of a better term. But yeah, we can have a different opinion on that. I do think.
No, I'm asking for a comparison versus a argument.
Sure.
He missed throws in Miami by like 5 yards.
Yeah. And maybe some of that was the moment. Maybe some of that was just what it was, because there is obviously some eager or some anxiousness in that. But I mean, I would say, okay, if you want to put those two, you arguably watch one of his worst games he's ever played in the first half, and then you come out and you say this kid is terrible, whatever the word he used is. That's something to me I just could never get behind, right? Like if I see some film. And I watch a ton of film. I try to tell people this all the time. I'm always watching film. Like, if I see film and I have an initial reaction to that film, I go and watch another game. And I try to watch another game before I'm going to put that out in the ether and say that somebody isn't good. I know that's not very social media of me after the segment we just had, but I'm not trying to come out here and have these wide, grand statements about somebody's potential or play. Like, it's nonsense to me. And that's why I kind of interjected and I was like, I don't know if I believe this to be true. I just think it's nonsensical. So I don't agree.
Is he really a draft expert if one half compels him this hard to go to social media? Like, I don't think that adds up. I don't think you can be an expert if one half is enough to feel that you have to share with the world.
Yeah. I think, and this is just my process, and I wouldn't even feel comfortable even speaking about somebody unless I've seen like a third of their season's games, right? I got to watch 3 or 4 games before I can feel comfortable about having a picture of what this guy is. You can see his absolute best game ever. You're going to say this kid's the first overall pick, or you could see a first half like Marcel and be like, this kid doesn't belong on SEC field. Then you realize with more body work, more film, more practice play, more plays, whatever the case may be, you have a better picture or idea of what this guy is, what his strengths and what his weaknesses are. And if you look at the body of work last year, Marcel Reed was in the Heisman conversation for 10/12 of that season, right? Like he was in there for majority of it. The end of the year struggles, no doubt about it, and that's I think what's going to haunt him all this offseason and into week 1, and that's going to be a lot of the conversation because the conversation about Marcel Reed is only going to get louder. Like you said, the quiet period of the summer is when the nonsense gets louder. So that's what's going to be talked about until he gets on the field and proves otherwise. But with that being said, to discredit the body of work that he had all year just for a half of football, or just say you're an NFL draft analyst, and to say something like that is pretty damning in my opinion.
Yeah, if he would have said, I studied Marcel Reed's season, and then said everything he said,
sure,
it still would have been bold.
Right.
But, okay, that's his opinion based
100%.
Upon data. But to go, I watched a half and I went,
I have a real problem with people that tell on themselves. Right? If you're going to sit here and like you just said, I watched every snap of Marcel Reed's season and I think he blank, right? I got to, hey, you watched it. That's your opinion, whether I agree.
That's your opinion.
100%. Yeah. But if you sit here and say, I just watched the first half of football and this guy was unbelievably bad, like it just, what's that worth? That intense.
Well, the answer is yeah. For a half. You're
sure.
Right, yeah. Sure. And? And.
Yeah, exactly. And for me, a saying I love to say, that and 10 cents would give me a dime. It ain't worth nothing. It ain't worth nothing to me. So, with that being said, yeah, I see that and I'm like, that is exactly what social media is these days. And then you look and you see somebody from Barstool tweeting something similar and it's like, oh, we got a content play here. And we understand that A&M fans get riled up online and they're going to come fight for them. And here we go. Here's engagement.
I'll share this with you because, A&M beat year 2, right?
Yes.
So, okay. I have said before that whenever someone, beat writer, be specific, because you haven't been, DFW, Dallas Morning News, has been known to hate A&M, but allegedly, according to Aggie fans, every single beat writer hates A&M.
Sure.
You don't know that. I've shared a secret with you. And I've always said that whenever a beat writer, a website, national, regional, local, and you're hurting for clicks, your editor tells you if you don't get X by Y, I got to fire you. All you have to do is write an anti-A&M article and make sure that you publicize it or do an A&M poll. Do an A&M poll. There you go. That's all you have to do because Aggie fans respond to everything. They look for a windmill to run at, okay? It doesn't matter. And a lot of times I see things by writers, websites, webless, web journalists, all okay. And I go, oh, they're just doing clicks. I know it's not even real.
Yeah,
okay?
right.
It happens all the time.
Sure.
That it's not even real. If I needed to do a subscription marathon, I don't. I do radio. But if I ran a site like that,
yeah.
I would just write an article. A&M's the worst team in the big SEC. Give 5 BS reasons that aren't even real. And man, I'd hit my subscription goal.
There's the script, right?
Yes. It really works because Aggie fans respond to everything that happens.
You know what's funny is, too, I work at the Austin paper, so I think a lot of people thought I was like a double agent when I first got here. And so I can confidently say those conversations don't take place. But you're right. There are people that don't have the same like ethics or respect. And, hey, if I say this, I'll ignite the fan base. And whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, they're going to insult me or my family. Like at the end of the day, it's engagement, right? And I don't subscribe to that. If I say something online, if I said it, I meant it, and there's no way around it.
Are you telling me you don't pull a Skip Bayless or you don't pull a Stephen A. Smith or any of the current talking heads that exist on ESPN?
I think that was the demise of all that. When that stuff became popular and that like barbershop screaming at each other talk, that's what the demise of like.
That was fake.
Fake.
See, that's the key. You can do that
like WWE
when it's real, but now it's scripted. Actually, it's actually scripted.
You pick a side and yell at each other. Like I grew up in the what is it, the sports reporters where they just talked, and like I grew up watching PTI, and or Around the Horn. Like that's what I grew up watching, and that's the stuff that I wanted to get in the business for, not this screaming at each other. You take a side, I'll take the other side, and we'll just insult each other blind for 10 minutes. I just don't think that's the way to go.
I remember watching the sports reporters when it was the show out of Chicago. You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
And it was on like Fox Prime or whatever before ESPN even touched it, okay? They got sports reporters, and it was the dudes that still wore the old school journalist hats, okay? And one guy had a cigar. So I'd watch it, and
classic.
Yeah, it was journalism,
right?
That kind of thing.
For sure.
And no, I'm not saying that's the way it should be now, but what it has morphed into is intriguing.
We've talked about it. The fanalist is the part that's really frustrating. Like I think having a microphone and having an opinion is great. I think anybody, and that's how I got started. I mean, I've told you before, I didn't go to school. I just picked up a microphone. I had some takes. People took to it, and next thing you know, I got a full-time job in College Station. So that's how it goes. I think that's great, and I wouldn't be here without it. But I think you gotta. What do you give up, right? Do you give up your respect? Do you give up the fact that your credibility to say something wild for a couple of clicks and some followers? Like I know people that started with me that blew past me on follower accounts, but at the end of the day, I know wherever this takes me, I did it exactly how I wanted to do it, and I did it with respect and honor. And some people, I guess, that don't pay the bills. So I guess some people are going the other way with that.
Tony, thank you always, brother. You
Absolutely.
know how much I enjoy the heck out of catching up with you.
Absolutely.
Have fun this weekend.
You too.
Is it Happy Easter, Merry Easter? What is it?
It's happy. It's got to be Happy Easter.
Happy Easter then.
You a ham guy?
Oh, heck yeah.
Yes, a big time ham guy.
Oh, man. And many types of ham. All ham.
Oh, yeah.
Pro ham. When we return, we go from ham, Easter, journalism gone wild to beer, which in my world, that's a good deal. It's the Louie Bellina Show presented by CC Electric. It's the Louie Bellina Show. Inside the Charles Schwab studio. I'm going to go at Wednesday. I don't have a calendar in front of me on the Zone.
Sign up for the Zone newsletter at zone1150.com and don't miss out on a chance to win $5,000 in the Money Machine.
It is the Louie Bellina Show on a Wednesday. These are the parts that you know. But each Wednesday, I visit here, Bubba Bush, but I visit there with Alan Ward of Brigadoon Brewery. And today is one of those theirs. We head out on the D4 Land Service hotline so that we can visit with Alan Ward of Brigadoon Brewery. He is our beer master general. He is, just a good friend of mine. Alan, how you doing, brother?
Hey, rocking and rolling. How you today going, Louie? My
day is going phenomenal. One of those days where you wake up and you smile and you don't know why, and you're smart enough not to ask why either.
That's sometimes better not to know, isn't it?
Well, why question it? You're in a good mood. Go team. That's
Just go with it.
Maybe it's because I knew I was going to get to talk beer with you. There you go. I know why exactly now, because I knew we were going to get to talk beer today.
That's why all my days are good. I'm always ready to talk about beer, and there's always a beer to talk about. So that's it.
Something I was thinking about after you and I last visited, we did our monthly beer recommendations, man. And I know this might be a pipe dream, but what was the last new beer flavor, beer craze that was introduced? Because I don't get bored. I have my favorite beers, and now that, especially that I don't drink like I used to, a beer is precious to me. But I just wondered what could be a new, or if you and I could come up and create a new beer flavor, a new beer style, or a new beer craze.
Oh, that's a different story. I thought you were going different direction with that question. What was the last beer craze? A new style that I like to see happen? Maybe a lagerish, malty fruit beer, maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
Fruit beers, do you think they would work in Texas?
A fruit beer, I think fruit beers are what would appeal to new audiences. That's one thing I look at. The younger generations don't want beers that taste like beers. I like beer that tastes like beer. I love that malt flavor and everything else. But I think younger generations, they do not particularly care for that. Alcohol consumption is down across the United States about 9%. Beer's down about 7.5%, depending on what area you're in. So the lighter body, the pilsners and the fruitier styles, I think would do good. You give me an example of something like that. It's kind of a style. All-Stretch Peach. That's kind of a fruityish beer. That's something like that. But I think that's the current mild structure. I am also happy to see that not a new style, but pilsners are coming back. Lagers are coming back. People are going back to old-style beers, and that's what I think is important. You look at this time of year, and I think Maybach's this time of year. So that's something that I enjoy. It's not a new style, though.
Pilsners, I have noticed like 4 different style of Pilsners, because you have your traditional Pilsner and then the Vienna Pilsner, not just the German Pilsner, but wait a minute, but then the Mexican Pilsners, which is a Vienna Pilsner, but then there's the Italian Pilsners. I've just started noticing on beer menus a lot of Pilsners and different Pilsners too.
And they all have the same great-grandfather. They're all German-style beers. The Italian beers are all German beers. They're just German brewers who moved south to Italy. The Mexican beers are all German beers also. The Mexicans came into Mexico and the Yucatan Peninsula and made beers. Those are all German styles. Now, we have seen, the newer baby pilsners coming out that are hoppier or less hoppier or more fruited. So they're all German style. They all got the same great-grandfather lineage. But I'm glad to see that beer coming back, because it's not an easy beer to do, and if you can do a Pilsner properly, you can do any beer there is. It's not like hiding a dead cat in a Guinness. In a Pilsner, it's light-bodied. There's nothing there to hide anything inside the beer. You can see through the beer, and any off-flavor shows up instantaneously. So I'm glad to see that back personally. And maybe going back. We're going back old style. Everything's cyclic. It comes around and comes around back again. So Pilsners, originally beers, are coming back to them.
I love Pilsners, right? That's one of my 2-3, my favorites of all.
Pilsner is great, and this time of year also, I like Kolsch's. And to me, a Kolsch and a Pilsner, they're two different styles, but they have a very similar light body flavor profile. And lighter spring days and getting the warmer days, I think those are perfect this time. And I agree, Pilsner are my favorite style of beers, along with Kolsch's.
The problem I had with Kolsch's, because the first Kolsch's I tried, I loved. I did not find enough consistency across craft breweries to make me continue wanting to try Kolsch's at craft breweries.
And that's a good point. I think American craft brewers especially have tried to put their own little almost thumb on it, trying to make new styles and ventures. And they've taken the Kolsch style of beer and they've tried to adjust it to their needs and their style, like their own yeast and their own hops. And it's a good style. Leave it alone. Use a Kolsch yeast. Use that style, that German old style flavor. But you are right. There's a lot of people say it's a Kolsch, and it's not a Kolsch. It's what their interpretation of a Kolsch is. And then you get a new dictionary because they weren't interpreting it right.
When it comes to German beers, please do not try and interpret or do a style thing to them. German beers, the test of time, they're historical. They don't need to be messed with.
And that's the thing. They've been around for hundreds of years. I mean, some of them have been since the 1500s. You can't. If it didn't work, it wouldn't last this long. And that's the thing about traditional styles. If you're going to try something new, great, but don't try to make it an old style as you reinvent it. Make it something new and call it your own. Call it Third Coast culture, Third Coast-esque culture. Don't lie and say the coast.
You and I have joked about that before when we start getting these exotic names, but at least that's more honest to say Third West Gulf Coast Hurricane beer versus trying to say Kolsch.
Yeah, you made a style up. Great, I got it. You were doing something new. You claim it and wear it proudly. don't try to hide it as something else. I mean, if you're going to wear, if you wear a T-shirt, wear a T-shirt. Don't try to disguise it as a tuxedo shirt. If you wear a tux, wear the tux proudly. Don't disguise it as a muscle shirt. Do it, claim it, and then go with it. And if it's a good beer, great, claim it and do it. And this is our beer. This is what we like. This is our style. And if you like it, great. But don't try to hide something and get a false ideology of what it is.
So German beers, Mexican beers are German beers. Is there such a thing as American beers?
Sure there are, and those are all going to be ales, because the thing with Germans, they brought their yeast with them. When they left Germany in droves during different times of history, they would take a piece of cloth, soak it in their beer, let it dry, and throw it to their shirts. Wherever they went to, they arrived with that patch of their yeast with them, and they would then rehydrate that yeast in sugar water. And that yeast they brought with them, they're used to having, then became that country's yeast and that style. And they used to adjust a little bit because the climate was a little different, the changes here and there. But it was that German style yeast, that lower, that colder weather yeast that goes in the bottom of a tank. All American beers to start with were ales because the temperatures here were higher and it couldn't be fermented as easily. And most of our ancestry originally came from the British Isles, Ireland, Scotland, England. Those were all ale yeast style structures, not German style. And had a great influence. German came later on, look in the 1800s when they came in and settled in Texas. Great, they brought their yeast with them. But American beers originally were all ales because it was in the area. Our yeast that was wild here was in the area, so they're all ales. And original American beers are ales.
And what are what would be the most commonly known ales?
As far as brands go, or a stock of an ales and ale. So let's call it a pale ale. That would be a beer with a marginal amount of malt and slightly hopped. And that's what we had with American style. They would have been pale ales. And the hops was used in order to maintain life of the beer on the shelf. Otherwise, beers go pretty bad. Gruit is a beer made with no hops. And these other things are bitter with it. And those beers have about a 2 to 4 week shelf life max. So you got to drink it quick. Now, it's not a problem if you were brewing beer, putting it in a barrel and sending it to the bar, and they drink it right away. And keep in mind that during that time of period, Northern America, New England states, there were cooler temperatures than Texas. It wasn't 95 degrees. It wasn't 110 with a 200% humidity out there. So they were dealing with 55 and 60 degrees, 70-degree temperatures, and the ales liked those temperatures and could function in those temperatures easily. So they would have been a pale ale. Porters were done a lot. That porter style was done a lot in Northern England because of the ability to have that malt with an ale yeast with it, with a very light hop. So those would have been American styles to start with. There's a book, I can't remember the exact recipe, but Thomas Jefferson wrote a letter to George Washington, and they describe an ale recipe, and it's available on the internet. You can find it. It's basically just an ale with darker colored grains in it, and it was lightly hopped.
So ales, pale ales, porters, that's your American beer. So we do have our own beers. And it's funny, I love porters. I think everyone can enjoy a pale ale. I don't know about everyone. So a lot of these flavors, a lot of these beers do fall into the Lou likes category.
Yeah, they do. And keep in mind that our beers are ales because the people coming were brewing ales and brought their yeast with them. So that's what you get the original American ale. So I guess you want to look at all of them. The American ales, original great-grandfathers were all in the English Isles, British Isles, until we get that great influence of German immigrants coming in, which brought a lot of great things with them. You come from Canada down, a lot of Nova Scotian in that area there, those are all ales. You get a little more into Canada with your Acadians, and that's all ales. They're all brewing ales up there. So that's the original style we have here because of where they came from.
Alan, what are you currently up to at Brigadoon Brewery?
Right now, we're getting ready for spring here. This is our time of fixing some roofing, some repairs, looking toward the next season. I'm doing some experimental beers coming up. I don't know if it's going to work out or not, but, our many travels, we travel all over the United States to look at different beers and styles. And I happened to have a beer when I was at Epcot last time that tastes like an old-fashioned. So I'm trying to maybe replicate that beer. It's an ale, but it has old-fashioned flavor to it. And we're looking at something new, something different, kind of spark that. We're going to do some more experimental beers this fall and calling them experimental beers. Here's 5 gallons. You like it? If not, no big deal. But we're going to keep the traditional ones also. Our Black Plagues are going to stay. Our Green Ogre, we'll fix and start doing those. We'll start brewing Black Plague and Ogre in July because those beers need a little time on them to age. They're higher gravity beers, and we can get those ahead of time and be well stocked. Last year we ran out of Black Plague last weekend on Sunday. Was you going to run out? That's the time to run out. So this next year we're going to have plenty of Black Plague on hand. We'll be able to last the entire season. We'll have them packaged goods also this year coming up.
You mentioned that old fashioned before. It's still stuck in the back of my head. I'm hoping you can break the code on that because I know I want to try one.
Man, I really liked it, and I've already contacted the brewery who made it, and they've asked to be nameless right now. But it was really interesting. We'll see how it goes. If they want to deal with this, work with that. Nothing hostile about that. But do we want to associate? Do we want to function? Is it needs both our ideologies and means? But I really enjoyed that beer. It was different. That's what it was. It was different. Now, do I want a 12-pack of that? Probably not. Watching a ball game, no. That's the beer to me I had. And maybe one or two, maybe watching a ball game, maybe watching a late movie at night, so I can kind of drink over a long period. It was a different flavor structure. Maybe that's a new style.
Well,
there you go. Old-fashioned beer ales. That's a new style.
Well, remember, you don't want to drink 12 old fashions either, probably.
No, you don't. I don't. I'm not functioning very well. An old-fashioned is something that's kind of new to me. I didn't really like old-fashions until recently. I was more of a give me it on the rocks. I'm paying good money for the whiskey. I want to ruin it. But since then, I've learned that you can have a good old fashioned and enjoy that. It's all about expanding your mind and your ideology and the ability to take your palate beyond words it's comfortable with and try new things.
Alan, go be awesome. Thank you always. Appreciate the knowledge. Love talking beer with you. Thank you always, brother. Can't wait to check in with you soon.
Take care. We'll see you soon.
Later, man. Alan Ward of Brigadoon Brewery on the D4 Land Services Hotline. If you ever need your land cleared, land excavated, land fixed up, D4landservices.com. They do more, like forestry, mulching, pond construction, metal buildings. Check out D4landservices.com. A very quick timeout. We're going to return, and then it's Astros baseball next here on The Zone.